Say this, man. So many people have ghosting all wrong. So many people have ghosting all wrong. Like when a man ghosts a woman. Now, I'm a man, so I can't tell you all the reasons why, as a woman, you might ghost. I've seen some things over a decade doing this, but I'll tell you this: if a man ghosts you, leave him in the afterlife. Ain't no sixth sense over here. If a man ghosts you, I don't care if it's good, bad, or ugly, because honestly, every reason that a man might ghost you or whatever reason he might choose doesn't necessarily mean he's this horrible person. But don't get caught up in that. As an empath, as a woman who seeks to be understanding, seeks to be caring, seeks to be considerate of all these different external circumstances, he could point to and say, well, this is the reason why you never heard from me again. This is the reason why I didn't text you, call you, show up again. This is the reason why I just dropped off the face of the earth. After getting your hopes up, after awakening your heart, after stopping you from whatever it is that you was doing, after opening, like making you share with me things you would never share with anybody else. This is the reason why I just cut off all communication and acted like, you were dead to me and it meant nothing. I'm going to tell you the truth. As a man, there are various reasons. Some of them we can consider good, some of them bad. But like I've said, I don't know how many years now, good intentions do not negate damaging consequences. Even if a man can give you this heartfelt, heartwarming story about why he just had to cut you off with absolutely no communication, that ain't just a red flag. That is a tarpoon. That is absolute. Do not entertain him anymore. Does it make him a horrible guy? That ain't even what we asking. Is he even safe? That's the thing as a woman that you need to be establishing from day one. It's not is he good or is he bad? Is he safe? In the condition that he's in the season that he's in the value system that he has, in the way that he approaches conflict or lack thereof, in the way that he talks, his age, whatever it is he safe? That's the only thing we want to know. It's like if you get an airplane, you go on an airplane, and this airplane got all the bells and whistles. It goes however many feet high, it goes how many miles a second fast. It looks beautiful. It's got champagne on the inside. It's got plush seating on the inside. I mean, it's just everything. But it's got a 90% chance it's going to crash if it go up in the air. Do you care about all of the other good? No, you don't. It's good, but it ain't safe. And the lack of safety negates everything else. You see, whenever you young, you might heal like Wolverine, or you just ain't got the perspective, so you really ain't tripping on that like that. You got many, many years to eventually believe in love again and trust again and try again. And then if you're dating at a really young age, most of the guys that you're going to come across in their 30s, 40s are likely going to have more to offer than the 19, 20-year-old that you heartbroken over. So it's a little bit easier there too. But as you get older, the dating pool shrinks for the caliber of woman that you've now elevated to. Not only that, your perspective has changed, so you can't tolerate the same mediocre, bottom tier, bottom of the barrel types of behavior that you could have before. You just don't have the same tolerance. Your palate has changed. It's like as we get older, we don't want to eat cereal and chicken nuggets every night like we did when we was 5 years old. You get older, you want real, fulfilling food. It's nice to have a snack every now and then, but you get what I'm saying. Your palate has changed. And so what I'm getting at here is if you're dealing with a guy who ghosts you, I'm going to tell you why, first off, a man might ghost you. But when you're dealing with a guy who ghosts you, negate everything that has to do with he's good, he's bad, his excuses, his reasoning is good or it's bad. Understand that ghosting will inflict, if not reiterate, an abandonment wound on you. And that's one of the hardest things to love somebody new through, even if that new person is actually deserving of you. Matter of fact, I want to know if I'm talking to anybody real quick. Put I down in the chat if you've ever had a man ghost you. Put I down in the chat if you've ever had a man ghost you. And when I say ghost, let me qualify that. Ghosting is not y'all talk for 2 days and then all of a sudden, he stopped texting back or something like that. Ghosting is also not, whenever you did something, it's trifling. Ghosting, when y'all been talking for at least 2 weeks. And that's if you're really going in, at least 2 weeks. Getting to know each other on a regular basis. Good mornings, good nights. How are you doing? Checking in. 2 weeks or more. And you guys have been divulging not just energy and time, but you guys have been divulging very vulnerable, sacred parts of you, your story, how you feel, how you think. You guys have been exchanging that. If not gone even further into sex or a monogamous relationship, and then boom, all communication cut. If that's the case, you have been ghosted. And you see, one of the damaging effects of ghosting, and this we're going to get into the reasons why a man ghosts, just so you can be armed with everything you need to not personalize it, and you can know how to spot the red flags of a man who might try to ghost you in the future to prevent these damaging effects. But like I just said, when somebody ghosts you, when a man ghosts you, in that context now, because everybody got different ways of seeing it, it will inflict, if not reiterate, an abandonment wound. What is an abandonment wound? An abandonment wound is essentially the expectation that you're going to get left. It's a painful, literally a wound to your psyche that will imprint you in a way that says never ever trust again, never ever love again, because they're going to leave you. And not only are they going to leave you, but they're going to take your peace with them. They're going to take your confidence in yourself with them. So from this point forward, this is an abandonment wound. Do not trust, do not love, do not open up. Just look at everything through the lens of it's going to be temporary. So at best, hold yourself back. But if anything, don't even entertain it because it's not for you. That's what an abandonment wound essentially imprints on you. And whenever you invest yourself into somebody, and it does matter how much you invested, how long. I've heard of women getting ghosted after 10 plus years. Children involved, completely abandoned. One of the young ladies, and I'm actually getting ready to go live soon in my self-crown VIP, but she was just talking about how a man, I think it was 15 plus years, ghosted her. And you see, in that kind of situation, and this ain't one of the reasons I'm going to discuss here, but in that kind of situation, somebody already got their mind made up, and then they just execute it. But I want to talk to y'all about why a guy might ghost in the very beginning. But again, the damaging effects, that abandonment wound, the self-esteem takes a hit. You may have come into that relationship so confident in yourself and so on and so forth. But the thing is, when you give somebody a piece of your heart, when you share with somebody things that you've never shared with anybody else, it matters how they handle that. That's the reason why you probably waited to even do that. Correct me if I'm wrong. When you share with somebody a sacred part of you, ways that you think, things that you're into, things that you've been through, it's like, it's one thing if a complete stranger don't care about you. It's one thing if a complete stranger takes you for granted, don't love you, whatever, because you don't even know me. But then whenever you say, okay, I'm going to let you be one of the few people I give access to my heart and the quirky side of my personality, my 100% raw, real self. And a person sees that and it says, I'm good. And not only do they say, I don't want to move forward with this because, we're not right for each other, but they literally ghost you. It matters. I don't care how strong you are. I ain't trying to say, I know y'all are confident. I know y'all got all the confidence in the world. Look, the truth is, as a human being, it's going to hurt. And if you invested a lot into that person, it can be damaging for a while. Because you don't normally go that deep with somebody, because you don't normally get that real and raw and like emotionally naked with somebody, this is a situation that you likely don't have a ton of experience with. It's one thing like, if you, I don't know, trip and fall, if you have a flat tire, you know what I'm saying? If you pull out some groceries and some of them are expired, like these are experiences you likely had multiple times, you know how to handle it, no big deal. But when it's something you haven't encountered a lot, it can be damaging because the confusion sets in. The uncertainty about what it means sets in. Now you're having to rethink everything that you thought you knew about how this situation goes. You as a good woman, opening up yourself to a man who presents himself as good. He didn't give you any outright reason to believe he was bad. So how does this take place? And what I'm really going in deep for is so that you guys can have the answers that a lot of times you may ruminate on trying to find. You sitting there wondering, oh my gosh, I'm just so messed up in the head. I am crazy. I do think too much. And the whole time, like that's what it is. You're stuck in the uncertainty. And we find safety in certainty, especially as a grown woman, by the way. We find safety in certainty. Now we know how to maneuver. Now we know how to avoid this. So let me give you guys a little bit when it comes to the clarity piece, and hopefully this gives you guys some certainty around why a man may ghost you. And I know we know how to handle this, right? But this will help those of you who have ever been ghosted and you've lacked any piece of closure over the situation. The first reason why, and I don't know if I've heard too many people talk about this, but emotional unavailability that's disguised as interest. What do I mean by that? So whenever you have a guy who comes in, he comes in hard. We always jump to love bombing. Love bombing essentially when a guy's trying to hook you and all that kind of stuff. A lot of times when the guy comes in hard and he comes in fast and he wants to do this and he wants to do that and he's so sure about you, what he's trying to do is mask his emotional unavailability with speed. Because he came in not able to truly go in depth. He came in not able to truly be vulnerable. Now, how does this equate to ghosting? Because at some point, you guys are going to start teetering on and reaching, hey, let's go beyond the surface here. You're gonna start going to those levels. What about holidays? What about meeting your children, meeting my children, meeting each other's families? What about a serious relationship? Tell me about this. Tell me about that. Oh, let's resolve conflict. Anything that requires true depth. And what that speed does is it tries to skip all of that. And not only skip all of that, enjoy some of the fruits while he at it. So now that we hit this, the emotional unavailability is going to reveal itself, and it was there from the very beginning. But because this is immoral, because it's wrong, now he's going to ghost to avoid accountability for his emotional unavailability. So if you ever had a guy who came in, hey, I'm just so sure about you. I'm just ready to make it. Well, I'm just ready to go to the altar tomorrow. I know what I want, and I ain't playing no games. And I see it in you, and I never felt anything like this. Y'all heard it. And he trying to hurry. But then the moment there's any type of real issue, the moment any real feelings start truly developing, boom, he out. That's a man who masked his emotional unavailability that was there from the very beginning as interest, that wanted to move really quickly because he knew the end was inevitable. And instead of letting you know that or talking you to, man, look, he's just on to the next. He's just on to the next. Another reason why a guy will ghost you these days is because analysis paralysis. It's really a term I've heard used more so in business, but essentially we live in a digital era, social media era where there's so many choices at people's fingertips. Y'all be surprised how many guys are what I call honeymoon hoppers. They essentially hop from one honeymoon phase to the next. This is perpetually what they're wired for. It's almost like a person that's gorging themselves with food, or they just one after another. They just keep going, or they stay at the slot machine, continuing to go. They develop an addiction to this honeymoon phase, to these first impressions. And so what a guy will do is he'll just get in the habit of one after another, after another, after another, after another. And because there's no serious investment, he honestly does not truly care about how you feel. And eventually you'll get the hint and he just ghosts you while he's already focused on something new. Honeymoon hopper. And so the analysis paralysis part is, even if he deeply does want to have something real with somebody, he's got so many options, he can't focus in on a single choice. And so he just jumps around forever trying to fill this void, because now he's defined an intimate relationship by the honeymoon phase that of course doesn't last. So if you're in that situation with a guy and you notice, he's got all these different women that he's following and he keeps in contact with, he's always splitting time. This is likely a honeymoon hopper. And I've talked about this before, so I won't go too far in depth, but he has a shopping mentality, not an investment mentality. Now let's get a little deeper. Another reason why a guy may ghost you, the real reason why he'll ghost you, and it's 5 reasons, but I'm gonna wait for that 5th one because that's probably the most common. But this one is the mirage of perfection. When guys first date a woman, of course, I think we all try to put our best foot forward and that kind of thing. This is why you have to try and see through that very first representative that he shows you. Like, wait for the real. Before you finally establish this is your soulmate, you guys get along so well. Yeah, that is the potential of how well you guys can connect. But that's not really the truth of how you guys are going to connect over the long term. The reason why I say this is because a lot of guys are not confident in their true selves. Beyond that perfection. Hey, I got it all together. Hey, I'm in a good mood today, good headspace today. I'm waking up at 5 a.m. I'm drinking a gallon of water today. I'm this, that, and the other. My money is good. Guys will present that or come in that space and literally have no confidence in themselves outside of that. So the moment that they're going through something, the moment that the money ain't right, the moment that, they're kind of chaotic themselves, the moment that they stressed, They don't even want to let you into that. And so what a guy will do, and this is out of shame, and this is where you get the guys that be like, I'm just going through a lot. It's not that he's just going through a lot. It's that he won't let you in to the real part of him, to the real version of him, because he only has confidence in the perfect facade. Now, I'm not mad at any man that wants to put his best foot forward. Of course, you know what I'm saying? Put on your good shirt, put on your good cologne when you first meet a woman. But if a man isn't rooted in his authenticity, if a man is insecure, he's going to ghost you the moment that he's not perfect, because he already expects you to not accept him the way that he don't accept himself. This is why you cannot personalize whenever a man ghosts you. These are his demons to fight. Now, I know this don't make it hurt any less, but hopefully this gives you some perspective, as instead of you think, well, what did I do wrong? Maybe I hurt him. Maybe I offended him. No. Maybe I seem like I might be too mean for him to tell me what's really on his heart. No. He doesn't have confidence in his real self. I guess I could compare it to like some women, y'all tell me if I'm wrong, but some of y'all don't like to really FaceTime without your, you know what I'm saying, your makeup did, your hair done. You know, if you got a bonnet on, you ain't really feeling that. Look, I always say, man, get a real you. Get you wear do-rags, whatever you wear, whatever the real you is, go ahead and give it. Have confidence in that out the gate. If he ain't with it, he ain't with it. It's better to know that up front before you get emotionally invested, that he can't handle that or he's not into that, and that's enough for him to try to, you know what I'm saying, go look somewhere else. Man, give that man the real. Make a makeup list, whatever it is your true self is, go ahead and show that out the gate. Get that out the way. But a lot of guys, instead of hiding, you know, the blemish under the makeup, or instead of hiding the bad hair day under the bonnet or the scarf or whatever, they hide in their real personality. They hide in the fact that they're not always strong with all of the answers and always in an upbeat mood. Now, another reason why a guy will ghost you, and this honestly is kind of the undertone of most of what the reasons are anyway, is the avoidance of conflict resolution. A lot of guys do not want to resolve conflict. A lot of guys, they have whatever issue. They may have lost interest. Whatever, it could be anything. And instead of resolving the conflict, they just walk away. Their nervous system gets dysregulated. They get anxious, they feel rejected, they feel whatever, shame, guilt. If they try and resolve so they just rather just stop talking. And then after a couple of days, even if they feel guilty and want to reach out, that anxiety, that having an answer for why they've been missing for the last couple of days, it starts to set in. Now, I'm giving y'all, it's so many reasons, by the way, why a guy might ghost you. But ultimately, I'm not saying this is why a guy might reject you or not want to continue forward. The ghosting part, the part where he don't even want to honor what you guys have invested with a conversation to say, hey, this is where I'm at. This is what you can expect or not expect going forward. You know, be great. Take care. But the part where he don't even give you that is avoidance. Cowardly, but avoidance of shame and guilt and conflict. Now, another reason why a guy might ghost you, and this is what I don't think we've ever talked about, or I don't hear too many people talk about enough, is self-sabotage. It's similar to the insecurities part, but it's self-sabotage. You'll be surprised at how many men don't believe they're worthy of love. And we come across these guys and we think they just player. They get all these girls. But the reason why he goes from girl to girl to girl is because he doesn't truly believe in a woman that's able to love him, stick with him. And that's not for you to fix. But because he has that unworthiness of being loved, he projects that onto you and says, well, eventually you're going to come to a place where you feel like I'm not worthy of love. So I'm going to sabotage this. And so before the ghosting, he might have been the one bringing up problems, making things a problem where it really wasn't no problem. Y'all tell me if y'all have ever seen this before. Much love, Lacey and JRF. He'll sabotage. He'll find arguments. He'll find faults. He'll find a way to create tension in the situation. But ultimately, what he's trying to do is make this situation familiar according to his preconceived notion that starts with himself. And this is where he has an unhealed abandonment wound. This is where the whole, broken people break people thing comes from, or at least where it reflects. Because while he's healing from this, well, not healing, while he's suffering from this abandonment wound, he's going around and creating new abandonment wounds in everybody else. This is why you got to be careful about dealing with guys, broken men, and you got to learn how to leave it broken. Some of y'all, you're such nurturers, such fixers, such repurposers, such recyclers. You get with a dude and you don't like, look, they ain't no repurposing. This thing is totaled. There's a such thing as totaled. I am all for healing together without hurting each other. If you have something that's viable, you got kids in the mixed marriage and you got years and it's two people who want to put in the work, heal together without hurting each other. I'm going to advocate for that till I die because I already know there's a war on the family structure. And the number one weapon of the enemy is a foolishly prideful man. And the second weapon of the enemy is a shame-ridden woman who's inherited shame that she did not deserve. So I'm always going to advocate for reconciliation and restoration where it belongs. But if you come into a situation and the guy is incapacitated to put in the work because of his own unhealed childhood trauma or whatever the case may be that he may blame it on, leave it broken. Stop trying to fix it. Stop pulling out your, look, man, you supposed to be handing this guy your heart, not reaching for your tool belt to try and make him be operable again. No, he is total. If he comes with abandonment wounds, he is total. That's not for you to fix. You're not a mechanic. And the reason why I say this is not because I want you to look at the guy with the flaw and just say, oh, I can't deal with you. You're not good enough. But so that you avoid the trap that so many empaths fall in. This is one of the many. There's 7 that are really bad that will really have you jammed up for years and will block all your blessings. And I'm not just talking about blessings in terms of being in a relationship, but all your blessings in terms of your peace, your happiness, your confidence. But outside of those 7 traps, and I went in on those in my masterclass, the 7 traps an empath must never ignore. If you haven't yet, get access to that at the link down at the bottom. You can register and come on back to the video, but don't miss it because it's not going to be up forever. But one of the other traps I would say is whenever you see a man and you see how hurt he is, and from the places and the times in your life where you are hurting, you needed somebody to just take some time with you and empathize with you and have grace with you, you extend that to him. This is where projection goes the other way and is still equally harmful. You're projecting an empathy onto this man that he doesn't deserve, not in the form that you're giving it to him. You have to learn, empaths out there, you learn how to give sympathy, not empathy. Sympathy is okay. Sympathy says, I feel bad for you. Man, that's tough. But I'm still detached enough to keep me safe. Because I can't let you drown us both. Empathy is whenever you now want to invest yourself into this person based on the sympathy that you have and think that you can come in and make them right. You don't need to do that. That's not safe in romance. So, let me make sure. So with that, I'm about to get up out of here. I'm your internet big brother per usual. Hopefully I gave you guys something of value. And if you haven't yet, get access to my masterclass, the 7 traps that empath must never ignore, down here at the link at the bottom. I'll holler at y'all later. Y'all be good. Peace.